Have you been thinking of moving to Richmond Hill, Ontario, but you're not sure which neighborhoods you should consider? In today's video, we're going to jump into my computer, take a look at my Google Maps, and I'm going to guide you through the best neighborhoods of Richmond Hill, including the ones with the best schools, the best parks, and the best neighborhood amenities. We're going to highlight one school that's ranked 30th out of 3,037 schools in the entire province. Buckle up for an insider's tour of the real Richmond Hill. If this is your first time to the channel and you'd like to know everything there is to know about moving to Toronto and the surrounding areas such as Richmond Hill, then subscribe below so you can be the first to learn about the current market conditions in Toronto. My name's Philip. You know, me and the team, we get texts, emails, phone calls every day from people looking to make that move to Toronto, and we absolutely love it. So if you're looking to move in 8 days or 80 days, feel free to shoot me a text, send me an email, or set up a Zoom call with me. There's a link in the description. I'm happy to help you make that smooth move to Toronto. All right, I'm really excited to give you guys a tour of Richmond Hill and all the communities within it. You know, I've lived in a lot of places all over the greater Toronto area, but Richmond Hill, I've spent a lot of time there, and we moved there as a family when I was 16, and I moved out around 30, so a lot of my formative years were spent there, and I do know the city quite well. Back when I moved over to Richmond Hill, it was still a village. It was quite a small little community, but by the time I moved out, it was definitely a city, and now the population is over 200,000 people that call Richmond Hill their home, and you're gonna kind of find out why throughout the course of this video, because it is a really nice place to raise your family and has a lot of great amenities to that end. So let's jump on into my computer. I'll share my screen with you guys. You'll see Google Maps, and you're gonna get a sense of what Richmond Hill is all about. All right, here we are in my computer with a map of the city of Richmond Hill, along with some of the surrounding cities. So just for a bit of a reference point, the city is bordered by Bathurst in the west, Highway 7 in the south, Highway 404 in the east, and Bloomington Road in the north, which forms a pretty perfect square. And then the city is broken up into a bunch of communities within it, which I want to showcase people. It's not visible in your standard Google Maps. I have kind of a modified version over here, which shows an overlay of all the sub-communities within the city over here, so you can get a little sense of what's going on. And you'll see a lot more of the south of the city is developed, and the north is a lot more rural space, a lot more parks and forests take place in the north, and kind of the south is one of the earlier portions to be developed along with the middle. So we're going to kind of get started with what I feel are the best neighborhoods to live in Richmond Hill. And then the first one we're going to look at is South Richvale, here right in the southwest corner. So we're going to switch to more of the traditional Google Maps so we can dive in a little bit deeper. You'll see in the more traditional Google Maps, these neighborhoods are titled differently. It's like it's just Richvale here, but it is in fact South Richvale. And like South Richvale is bordered by Bathurst in the west, Highway 7 in the south, Yonge Street in the east, and Carville or 16th in the north. Creates a nice square over here. It's really one of the most affluent neighborhoods in Richmond Hill. South Richvale contains some of the best homes that I've seen. You know, some of these homes have been featured on magazines and architectural digests and all kinds of publications. And, you know, a lot of them are custom built by really unique architects and have a very nice look to them. So it is a pretty special neighborhood. We do also have Richmond Hill Golf Club here in the southwest, which is a very nice golf course. It also has indoor tennis courts for the winter time and a big banquet hall for weddings and big events. So let's get a little bit closer into South Richvale and take a look at one street here in particular, so you get a sense of what this city looks like. Here we go, a construction site. That's a pretty normal sight to see in South Richvale. A lot of the older homes are being redeveloped into something more like this. So this is kind of a standard South Richvale home. You have a 3-car garage, you have maybe 5,000-6,000 square feet. I'm sure a very manicured backyard with probably a pool. Here's another one you can't see as well. That's the neighboring house. And here is some of the kind of the original homes that were built here 40, 50 years ago. So why this is such a good target for development is the lots are huge. Like, look at this lot. It is way out of proportion for the small house that sits on it. So it's a great target for developers to come in, tear down the small house, put up a mansion, and then it fits in with the rest of the community as well. So there's a lot of very unique homes. If you're looking for something one of a kind that isn't easy to replicate, like a home like this, South Richvale is a great starting place. Here's another one under construction. So there's not really one builder that's built all of these. These are kind of smaller, more bespoke, more custom builders. These are older ones from the kind of 40, 50 years old that are being demolished. So that's just a quick snapshot of what South Richvale is all about. It's really the best that Richmond Hill has to offer, in my opinion. And then we're going to go to the next square north, and that is North Richvale. It's bordered by Bathurst in the west, Carville in the south, Yonge Street in the east, and Major Mackenzie in the north. So if you consider North Richvale, if you want to be close to the shopping mall, we have Hillcrest Mall over here, which is quite a nice shopping destination nowadays. When I was growing up, it was a little bit run down. It has gone through a pretty big renovation in recent years, and they added some new stores. Sporting Life, which is like a big sporting goods retail store, opened up. The interior of the mall got a full renovation. When I was younger, I would just come here for the food court. There was really nothing else I would want to do here. But since then, it's come a long way. It's quite a nice mall that people will travel for some distances to get to. Here's one of the newer stores that opened up. But yeah, that is, if you want a nice indoor shopping mall walking distance, North Richvale is a good option for you. And then North Richvale is divided, kind of this sector over here, south of Westbrook, is an older pocket, maybe 40, 50 years old. Not much redevelopment here. The lot sizes are smaller, so there's really not much room for redevelopments. But in the northern portion of North Richvale over here does have some bigger lot sizes, and a lot of it has been redeveloped. So if you're looking for a newer house in Richmond Hill, you'd probably be looking over here in the northern portion of North Richvale. There still are some older pockets, like over here is older pocket, over here is older pocket, but in this middle there's some great new houses on big lots. 5,000-6,000 square foot is definitely possible over here in North Richvale. So that covers North and South Richvale, and you'll notice that I'm really sticking to the west of the city. I want to kind of go back to the other map to showcase why. So we covered this community over here, South Richvale. We covered North Richvale, and we're going to kind of keep going north from here. There's kind of a specific reason why I'm doing this. Down the middle of the city, you can see a little kind of swiggly line over here. I'll zoom out here. I'll highlight it a bit more. This line over here that runs right through the middle of Richmond Hill is a train tracks. Canadian National Train Tracks, to be exact, houses cargo trains with cars and goods and everything you can imagine, as well as GO trains, which takes passengers downtown Union Station to their jobs. So, the service on this train track is increasing, not decreasing. And, personally, I feel that real estate values around a train tend to be stagnant or not be as attractive of a product type. So I generally avoid making recommendations to buy close to the train tracks. There are some exceptions, like this kind of neighborhood that's not super close to the train, and this one over here, they can still be something I would potentially recommend. But generally speaking, I am gonna avoid the middle of Richmond Hill, and now you know why. Okay, let's move on to our next neighborhood, which is on top of North Richvale, and that's Mill Pond. Mill Pond is one of my favorite pockets. I think it's pretty awesome neighborhood. You have Bathurst as the boundary in the west, Major Mac in the south, Yonge Street in the east, Elgin Mills in the north, and that kind of encapsulates Mill Pond. Now this section of Yonge Street over here between Major Mackenzie and Elgin Mills is the more historic heritage portion of Richmond Hill, kind of like the old downtown. There's a few shops, the old post office, a few things have been renovated in this area, but it's really kind of an area you drive through. And then the heritage homes that were built a very long time ago, Richmond Hill is over 200 years old, those take place kind of on the east side of Yonge Street and the west side of Yonge Street over here. So if you're looking for something with a bit more character, this kind of these heritage homes might be something you consider. But that aside, Mill Pond is a very old pond and park system. It's kind of dates back to the foundation of Richmond Hill. And then in the pond, there's a lot that takes place. Like I said, there's a trail system, a biking system. There's concerts in the park that take place in the summer. Every weekend, there's a new artist that comes, performs for families. There's kind of kid-friendly concerts as well. But it's very manicured and landscaped neighborhood. Swans, ducks, birds, you name it, all kinds of wildlife you can see here. And then in the winter, the pond freezes over. It turns into a skating rink. People can come play hockey, go skating. Yeah, there's a lot to do. It's really kind of integrated into the entire community. You can see there's a lot of entry points into the trail system from all these communities. They can all kind of access it. And these are all pathways of walking. So you can hike, walk all the way down this trail system, and it actually goes to North Richvale and South Richvale as well. You can see if we can start all the way here, follow this river. This is a nice biking or hiking trail. You can get all the way down to South Richvale quite easily from the pond, which is nice to have. Nice to have if you like the outdoors, like to go for a nature walk. It's nice to have that in your backyard. And then in terms of the housing types that we have here in Mill Pond, is like I said, this is the more heritage portion. This portion is maybe 30, 40 years old. And then there's one area that I really love, and that's over here in the northwest of Mill Pond. It's called Heritage Estates. Was built around 30, 40 years ago as well, but the builder really did a great job in building these homes. The style of homes here is very kind of Edwardian style, in my opinion. Very, very timeless look. I'm trying to find a good example, but I'm looking on the wrong side of the road. Okay, let's jump over here quickly. Here we go. These are the types of homes you see over here in Mill Pond, right? So 3-story homes, very kind of square shape. The builder landscaped the entire community as well. They put this essential landscaped kind of flower bed area. There's interlocking sidewalks over here, large driveways that you can fit 5-6 cars easily on, and it's aged quite nicely. A lot of these have been renovated, and they look still pretty good for 30, 40-year-old homes. The one downside I would have to say about these is the ceiling heights are typically 8-foot ceilings, because that's what was popular back then. You don't get much more than that, but they are still quite large homes. Like this is easily a 5,000 square foot home with 8-foot ceilings. So if you're okay with a slightly reduced ceiling height, this pocket called Heritage Estates is something you may want to consider. It's a beautiful pocket. Okay, so that covers Mill Pond for the most part. Next up, one more thing about Mill Pond. The public school is very highly rated. This Pleasantville public school is rated 9.1 out of 10 on the Fraser Institute ranking system, and that puts it as number 60 out of 3,037 public schools in all of Ontario. So a very in-demand school. I know a few parents that have kids in this school, and I know that there's actually not a lot of students and there's not a lot of young families in the community, so the student-to-teacher ratio is quite favorable for students. Okay, so that covers Mill Pond. We're going to keep going north to the next community, which is Westbrook. And Westbrook is bordered by Bathurst in the west, Elgin Mills in the south, Yonge Street in the east, and Gamble in the north. And this community is a newer community, generally speaking. The southern portion of the community, kind of right over here, this is maybe 30 to 40 years old. And then the northeast portion, this is pretty much all new homes. So anywhere from 10 to 15 years old, some brand new homes 5 years old. Those all can be found here. What I like about this community is that it also has a great park called Twickenham Park, which is pretty much a forest, and it interconnects with Mill Pond as well, and then it connects to the schools in the area also. So this community, Westbrook, has 2 great schools. Trillium Woods, very good elementary school. It's ranked 9 on the Fraser Institute ranking, and then St. Teresa of Lisieux, one of the highest ranked Catholic high schools in the community, in the city actually. It's number 9 is the ranking on the Fraser Institute website. So that makes it a great little pocket. You could have your kids go to elementary and high school all within walking distance, right? And that's what makes Westbrook so attractive. So, okay, we covered kind of a lot of the western portion of Richmond Hill. And now, if we'll just take some notes here, we started off in South Richvale, went to North Richvale, Mill Pond, Westbrook. This area we're pretty much avoiding, like I mentioned. On the east, I do want to touch on these 2 neighborhoods, Rouge Woods and Bayview Hill. These 2 pockets are industrial commercial because they're right beside the highway. So there's nothing for us to look at over there. So, okay, let's talk about these 2 pockets, and then we'll a little bit further north. Okay, so Rouge Woods is over here, bordered by Bayview in the west, Major Mackenzie in the south, Leslie in the east, and Elgin Mills in the north. It's a bit of kind of medium-aged neighborhood, maybe 30, 40-year-old neighborhood. Lots of trails are baked into it. A nice park system, big kind of community center, public school, baseball diamonds, everything you can imagine in terms of outdoor enjoyment is over here. And then you also have Richmond Green, which is the biggest park in Richmond Hill, just north of Rouge Woods. And that's very nice to have as well. It's quite a large park. I covered it in another video of mine, but here we have baseball diamonds, skateboard park, 2 ice rinks, outdoor, indoor, soccer fields, enclosed, and exterior soccer fields are here. Like in the winter, you can go play soccer very easily in Richmond Green. So if that's important for you to have, you may want to consider being in Rouge Woods. So you're just a stone's throw away from Richmond Green. But aside from that, the neighborhood also has some very good schools. Silver Stream Public School, one of the highest rated elementary schools in the entire province, 9.5 on the Fraser Institute website ranking, puts it number 30 out of 3,037 schools in the province. And then Bayview Secondary, which is just over here, not popping up. There it is. Bayview Secondary is the high school. This is ranked number 9 on the Fraser Institute website, one of the highest ranked high schools in the entire province. So yeah, Rouge Woods is a very nice neighborhood for that reason. It's maybe the only kind of downside I would say is that maybe the homes are a bit cookie cutter because it's a bit of repetition happening. But outside from that, you have everything you need to get by. You have huge strip mall over here with your grocery store and Walmart, another big strip mall over here. So it's very convenient, plus it's close to the highway. So that's Rouge Woods. Let's head over to Bayview Hill. So this community is one of the other kind of big affluent neighborhoods in Richmond Hill, not as affluent as South Richvale, but also quite kind of nice, big homes. 3-car garages are pretty much standard over here. I don't think there's much 2-car garage homes. So Bayview Hill is bordered by Bayview in the west, 16th in the south, Leslie in the east, and Major Mackenzie in the north, centered around a big community center and pool in the middle. My main kind of con about Bayview Hill is the homes, have been designed originally by a very good reputable builder, actually, but that was 30, 40 years ago. And since then, people are renovating and everyone kind of makes their own renovation decisions. So we can take a look at some of the homes here. These ones pretty kind of standard looking. This is a pretty nice house, 3-car garages. You can see the renovations. The original brick color is red. The new kind of color is more gray tones, so that doesn't stand out too much. This is a good example of kind of my beef with Bayview Hill, is peach garages with a gray exterior and a metal roof and wrought iron gate. So, some people may find this amazing. I think it clashes a little bit and just doesn't fit in with the rest of the neighborhood. Because look, red brick is the standard in this neighborhood. Everybody originally had red brick before renovation started taking place. Like, this actually looks very nice. But some people will make their renovation decisions and, it won't work out so well as they planned. So when you have a few of these renovation decisions that didn't work out so well and they come together, it creates a bit of a hodgepodge. People are really just thinking about their own decision of renovating. They're not thinking of the greater good of the greater neighborhood. And when everyone kind of just does their own thing, the neighborhood ends up looking neither here nor there. So that would be my one piece about Bayview Hill. Other than that, it's a awesome neighborhood. Okay, so that completes a quick look at Bayview Hill and Rouge Woods. So now let's go back to our main map with South Richvale, North Richvale, Mill Pond, Westbrook, Rouge Woods, and Bayview Hill all kind of looked at. We're not doing anything here. Industrial here. So all we have is the north of Richmond Hill now, which is a newer portion, right? We have Oak Ridges in the north, which we're going to take a look at, and Jefferson. And Oak Ridges used to not even be part of Richmond Hill up until around 20 years ago when Richmond Hill annexed it and kind of incorporated into the city. So that's why there's a bit of a division over there in terms of the green space in between it. But Jefferson is a very nice community. Let's jump into Jefferson, take a look. It was developed around 20 years ago. They paid a lot of attention to park space and natural trails and green space, a lot of homes back onto a ravine, and they have very nice views from all the windows in the homes. And then there's the trail system is really important as well. That's also kind of a big player here. Let's take a look at some of the homes over in Jefferson. So here's a great example, 2-car garage, 4,000 square feet-ish, up or down. Plenty of room for your 2 cars. You could probably fit 6 cars on some of these driveways. Great family homes, places you can stay for 15, 20 years and be comfortable as your family grows. There is some variability. Like, the builder was pretty good to build these homes. There's maybe 20, 25 different kind of architectural schematics and designs for these homes, and then they tend to repeat. You may definitely pick up some homes that look the same, but it's not as obvious as other communities. And like I said, they were built quite well, so they do stand the test of time very nicely. That is Jefferson over here. So let's go a little bit north to Oak Ridges and Lake Wilcox, which is kind of the central focal point of Oak Ridges. Lake Wilcox is a kettle lake, which is kind of an old lake that was built by a glacier very long time ago. Used to be able to swim in Lake Wilcox. Used to be a kind of a cottage community of a lot of cottages that were built around the lake on either side. That's since changed considerably. Now around the lake there's very expensive homes, especially on Sunset Beach Road over here. Well, Google Maps, give us a winter shot. Okay, lovely. So here's one being built. The ones that face the water, of course, a bit more prestigious. You can see some of them here, a little blurry. Let's see if it clarifies. Okay, this one's still under construction. It's actually already built since the Google Maps took place. But these homes can sell for 4, 5, 6 million, depending on the build quality. And then they're centered around Lake Wilcox Park, which was rebuilt recently and went through a pretty big renovation. It has a very nice boardwalk that hugs the lake, as well as splash pads, playgrounds, community center, indoor pool, a lot of kind of art installations as well. Here's some winter activities on the lake. Here's a kind of a map of the whole little community here. Here's an art installation of a boat, another art installation. Here's part of the boardwalk, and here's part of the staircase that leads to the boardwalk. It's a nice park to visit. You can bring the family, and there's things for everyone to do. And then the other portion of Oak Ridges is kind of this portion over here, which is a bit newer. This area specifically has large homes on big lots. And then these homes are, say, 20 years old, but yeah, that would be what I would consider the newer portion of Richmond Hill. And then some of these homes are even newer, 10 years old or 5 years old. So this is all pretty new stuff compared to what you typically see in Richmond Hill. And then if you are looking for a brand new home in Richmond Hill, there aren't too many options, but there is one. There's a pretty large development here at Leslie and Stouffville Road by Aspen Ridge, one of the more reputable builders here in Ontario. They're putting up over 400 homes over in this pocket. And it's very accessible pocket. You have a GO train stop right here, and you have Highway 404 entrance right here. So in terms of accessibility, these homes will be situated very, very well. And then you also have Jefferson Forest right beside these homes, which is a beautiful forest, and it has a very extensive trail system for hiking and biking. It's actually a place that I frequent on my bike. I don't do too much of that, but I'm definitely here quite a lot on my bike. We can cut to a quick video of that. It is a beautiful forest, and a lot of this region is conservation land that can never be developed, and it's kind of watershed and aquifer land. So a big piece of the way Ontario plans its development is to set room aside for nature and for the protection of the environment, right? So Jefferson Forest is a perfect example of that. Having that in your backyard is a big plus, and really one reason people choose to move to Richmond Hill, so they can be surrounded by nature and have the connectivity of the city of Toronto right at the fingertips as well. So that concludes the view of my Google Maps. Okay, that concludes our Google Maps video tour of the city of Richmond Hill. I hope you guys found some value as we travel through all the different neighborhoods that make up the city. And if you had any questions that came up as we were traveling around, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Me and my team will address all the questions that come up. And maybe you found a neighborhood that really spoke to you and you could see yourself living there. If that's the case, we'd definitely love to hear from you. Feel free to send me a text message, send me an email, or set up a Zoom call with me. There's a link in the description of this video. And we also put together another video called The Pros and Cons of Living in Richmond Hill. You can find that by clicking right over here. That goes a bit more in depth on Richmond Hill. It highlights some of the parks and all the kind of best parts of living in Richmond Hill. We really went on the ground and shot a lot of great content for that one as well. But that's it for today. We'll see you guys on the next video.